Sophia Winters had everything money could buy. She was a self-made millionaire, owning a luxury fashion brand that was the talk of the town. Her life was filled with designer clothes, private jets, and invitations to exclusive events. People admired her for her success and envious lifestyle. But in Sophia's world, there was one thing she couldn't tolerate, what she considered to be lowbrow art. Sophia prided herself on having impeccable taste that she thought couldn't be found in the streets or with the common folk. Art, in her opinion, belonged in high-end galleries, not in the hands of street performers or artists who didn't fit her image of sophistication. One rainy afternoon, while strolling down a busy avenue after a meeting, Sophia came across a small, unassuming street artist sitting on the sidewalk. His canvas was spread out before him, a chaotic mix of colors that seemed to dance with life. A crowd had gathered around him, watching as he painted a portrait of a woman. The artist's name, scribbled on a small sign next to him, read, Oliver Hayes. Sophia paused for a moment, looking down at the painting. She didn't understand it. It was messy, unpolished, and lacked the refinement she was used to seeing in the galleries. A few people in the crowd clapped as the artist worked, but Sophia sneered, shaking her head in disapproval. "Who would pay for that?" she muttered, loud enough for the artist to hear. "It's nothing more than a bunch of random splatters." Oliver paused, looking up from his canvas with a calm expression. "Everyone sees the world differently," he said quietly. "You just might not understand the message yet." Sophia rolled her eyes, brushing past him. She couldn't be bothered to waste any more time on what she considered a waste of space. She had a gallery opening to attend, and the street art scene was nothing but a joke to her. Weeks passed, and Sophia continued to live her life, indulging in luxury and turning a blind eye to anything she considered beneath her. She attended art auctions, bought expensive paintings, and even started her own collection. But one evening, as she flipped through the latest edition of an art magazine at a gala, a name caught her eye. Oliver Hayes, the street artist who took the art world by storm. Sophia nearly dropped her glass of wine. The article detailed how a street artist, Oliver Hayes, had transitioned from creating murals on city streets to having his own exclusive exhibitions in some of the world's most prestigious galleries. His works were selling for millions, and critics were hailing him as a modern-day genius. There were even photos of Oliver at private events with some of the world's top art collectors and influential figures. Sophia felt a sting of embarrassment. The artist she had so casually dismissed was now the talk of the town, admired by people she had considered her peers. She couldn't believe it. She had laughed at his art, yet now he was being celebrated by those who had the wealth and influence she so desperately sought. The next week, the city's biggest art auction house, the Velázquez Gallery, announced a special exhibit dedicated to Oliver Hayes' latest collection. The auction would take place at a private event, and only the most exclusive people in the art world had been invited. To Sophia's surprise, her invitation arrived in the mail. She hesitated for a moment, then decided to attend. She needed to see for herself if the artist was truly as great as they were saying. The night of the event, the gallery was filled with the city's elite, wealthy collectors, critics, and artists who had all come to see Oliver's latest works. As Sophia walked through the gallery, she felt a strange sense of unease. The paintings were undeniably powerful, emotional, raw, and full of meaning. The colors spoke to her in a way she couldn't quite explain. She found herself drawn to one particular piece, a large canvas depicting a broken city skyline, intertwined with human figures that seemed to be both in motion and at rest. It was chaotic, yet serene. Sophia turned to one of the guests standing nearby, a renowned art critic. "I don't get it," she admitted, gesturing to the piece. "What is it supposed to mean?" The critic smiled knowingly. "It's a representation of modern society, how we're constantly torn between progress and destruction, chaos and peace. Oliver's work challenges conventional ideas of beauty. It's not about perfection. It's about truth. Sophia stared at the painting, the critic's words echoing in her mind. For the first time, she began to see the depth in Oliver's work, the raw emotion, the boldness of the colors, the complexity. It was a reflection of the world she had always tried to avoid, yet it resonated with something inside her. Later that evening, during a private tour, Sophia found herself standing face to face with Oliver Hayes. He looked just as he had that rainy afternoon on the sidewalk, unassuming, humble, and yet there was an undeniable presence about him. "I didn't expect to see you here," Oliver said with a slight smile. "You didn't seem like the type to appreciate street art." Sophia felt a flush of embarrassment. I I didn't understand it at first. I thought it was just mess. But now I see that it's something much more." Oliver nodded. "It's not about pleasing people. It's about expressing something real. Art has the power to make us uncomfortable, to challenge the way we see the world." Sophia stood in silence for a moment, absorbing his words. "I've always valued perfection, but now I think I've been missing something. Your work isn't perfect, but it's alive." Oliver smiled warmly. "Art doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be real." As the night wore on, the paintings were sold for astronomical prices, and Sophia found herself in awe of how far Oliver had come. The man she had laughed at on the street was now a master of his craft, and his art was changing the way people saw the world. Sophia's journey is a powerful reminder that true beauty and value cannot always be measured by surface-level appearances. Oliver's success as a street artist demonstrates that brilliance often lies in unconventional places, and that judgment based solely on external factors can lead to missed opportunities. Sophia's transformation from a skeptic to an admirer highlights the importance of being open-minded and willing to challenge our own assumptions. In the end, the story reveals that true artistry and greatness aren't always found in the polished and refined, but sometimes in the messy, raw, and authentic moments that demand attention and reflection.